You gotta be vulnerable. Let it all out. Just let it sing. Let those emotions crawl out of you. Let the world know. The whole world. You fucking pussy. Vulnerability. The first test a man faces when he's brought into this world and interacts with it.
Brene Brown.
I bet some of you probably know who she is. She's that lady who did the TED Talk on vulnerability. Now, my views on TED Talks are shoddy at best. Obviously, looking at me, I'm somewhat of a younger guy. So yes, I have laughed my ass off at the Sam Hyde video where he totally fucks up TED Talk. Which, hey, barriers are meant to be broken in this world, you know? Everything is not so sustainable as you would think it would be. I would say it was because of her TED Talk that these descriptions of you have to be vulnerable came more into mainstream and people started saying it more, of acceptance that you have to be vulnerable. When vulnerability is pretty much being a coward. Coward from something. You're afraid of something. Something is overpowering you. Something can take control of you because you're vulnerable. That's vulnerability. And I get the whole point. Don't bottle it up. Don't press it off. Because sooner or later that pent-upness will become unsustainable to one and make someone go completely insane. And by insane, I mean accept the norm of the feeling and live life by it when it's not reality. It's just a pent-up of something that doesn't even exist in your head. It's just a blockage in your head that's not even physically real, that's holding you back to what you truly want in life. And that holdback could come from anything. It could start with a small issue that makes you so vulnerable that you press off, that you don't want to think about. It could just create and ball up into something huge. And then one day you have to peel back those layers just to figure out that, wow, I was just stressed about this little thing that caused into this big hypocrisy in my head. So yes, her message is very justifiable. If you feel something, if something is holding you back, feel the vulnerable feelings from it to move past it. Right on the dot. Don't hold back. As soon as you feel it, express it. But that comes into play with us guys now. We don't like to show it. We choose not to show it. When I was younger, I was very expressive with my vulnerable feelings to people. And it annoyed the shit out of everyone. Everyone I met, it annoyed the shit out of. I would pour my heart out to anyone I would meet, and it would annoy the shit out of people. And I would compare it to a girl doing the same thing, and it really wouldn't annoy a lot of people. There's actually more compassion towards that. I would usually just get like a minute conversation, brush it off your shoulder, and keep moving on. It doesn't matter. Now, the reason I acted like that when I was younger is because I had so much anxiety going on with me. It was just prone to me that I had to express what was coming out of me because I just always felt fucking wired. But it was very apparent to me when I was young, the difference between vulnerability with a man and a woman. Like I said at the beginning of this video, it's the first lesson us guys learn when we're brought into this world, when we take action to engage with our world. When I was like 3.5, I fell down the stairs and got a huge cut on my head because I was being rambunctious, I was being a guy, I wanted to get into shit and I wanted to take shit apart. Not too long, a year later, I got slugged in the forehead with a golf club, and I got like a 2-inch scar on my head still. What does this have to do with anything? Just think, what hurts more, being vulnerable to actual pain or being vulnerable to actual feelings? And that's a man's first lesson with vulnerability. That's the first thing he faces, is physical pain, because us men are physical. We come running out into this world physical. Forward motion. Why do you think it's etched in a man's head with this, with vulnerability? There's no pain behind that feeling. You want to know what physical pain is? You know what physical pain is. Main reaction you get from other guys if you're trying to express feelings, if you're not very close to them. And that's the key for a man to feel his vulnerable feelings, to come face with his vulnerability, to feel it, to heal it, to get past anything. Physically, mentally, anything like that. Is to keep people close to you that you trust. To keep a trusting circle around you. In some cases, it's just yourself. That's why you always have to trust yourself. Because I mean, if you find a guy crying on the street, and you ask what's going on, and he said, well, someone made fun of my shirt, they said it was stupid. What would be the normal reaction mostly from society to that guy? Who gives a fuck? Now you see a crying girl on the street, and you go up and see what's going on, totally distraught, makeup running down her face, just a big ball of help me, and you ask and she's like, well, someone made fun of my outfit and I worked really hard on this and I thought I looked so good today, I'm so self-conscious about how I look, and you feel sympathy. More sympathy than if you see a grown man crying like a baby on the street. But that's where this lesson comes in with, you have to trust yourself, you have to own yourself. Because a man will be pushed in those situations that he needs to let something out, but he really can't express it because of the viewing of what he is in this world. It really is how it is. So if you're in that type of situation as a man, find time to be alone with yourself and figure it out. And if you really need to, find someone that actually cares for you so you can talk to him about it. Because it's a good thing that the world views it like this. Keeps a man fresh and natural in his core values. How naturally it's supposed to go about for a man. Because you don't want men too emotional. You don't. No. Why would you want that? Remember, always go towards the most logical perspective to enact an emotional response. So if you as a man are feeling vulnerable, Find out what is creating that type of feeling, that holdback, and then feel the emotion that comes through it. Feel it to heal it.
Saint Perigene, patron saint of all forms of cancer. We ask you for your help in asking God to heal my cancer and keep it in remission. Pray for me so that I may live a long and faithful life.